seated.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, on the radio, on podcasts, on Facebook Live, and on YouTube. Today we're talking about the federal estate tax, and I wanted to go back to my summary here. It's been a great show so far. It's been moving pretty fast. The fourth segment, though, is about legacy.
And now, it's time for the Talk Law Radio Legacy Spotlight. What's your legacy? Sponsored by Marquardt Law Firm.
So, Marquardt Law Firm sponsors the show, and attorneys at Marquardt Law Firm focus on business and estate law, including last wills, living trusts, and tax-protected inheritance plans. Also, old businesses and new businesses, sometimes businesses that have issues with corporations, contracts, LLCs, family limited partnerships, and we can represent those who are facing problems from lack of planning, like in county court, district court, or probate court. If you have questions about your estate or the estate of a loved one, go to marquardtlawfirm.com. That's MARQUAR, D as in David, T as in Timothy, lawfirm.com. So I like to talk about legacy, and I was thinking about estate planning, estate taxes, and legacy, but also how I started to really learn about estate planning and estate taxes. Well, after I graduated from law school, I represented criminal indigent defendants for some time, and then I started working for a solo practitioner and helped him to grow his law firm from just him to having 6 associates and support staff and a big office to support everything. But then I went out on my own and continued practicing business law, estate planning, elder law, including Medicaid and veterans benefits planning, and also guardianships and probate. And I met an individual named Peter Perenni. He's an estate planning attorney here in town, and he told me about WealthCounsel, which is an national organization of estate planning attorneys and estate planning professionals. And so I started to think about his legacy. Well, he was one of a group of people that started this national organization. And so I just thought of the ripple effect of how many lives that he has positively impacted by establishing this organization of education, professionalism, and tools for estate planning professionals. Because it not only helped his clients establish terrific plans for last wills and living trusts and family limited partnerships and other irrevocable trusts for compliance with tax law. But everybody that he taught, every attorney that he taught had clients that were positively affected. So give a shout out to Peter Perenni with WealthCounsel for establishing the terrific organization that it is, and for starting that ripple effect of lives that are positively impacted by having legally enforceable estate plans to pass on assets to future generations. I'm going to go back to some of the things that I learned this past week in Las Vegas. Besides getting a great donut and staying at a great hotel, I saw a great show, Piff the Magic Dragon. If you want to see that photo of me with the magician that wears a dragon costume and his magical chihuahua, you can text Todd at 210-538-4770. Text Todd at 538-4770. Just in case I don't get through everything that I wanted to talk about, I want to let you know that if you have concerns about your estate and whether you're going to have to pay estate tax, ask your attorney to evaluate your specific facts and circumstances to see if you would benefit from charitable planning, marital deduction planning, creating a family limited partnership, creating a irrevocable life insurance trust, or creating a grantor retained annuity trust. One famous court case that involved a grantor retained annuity trust was Walton versus Commissioner 115 TC 589 in the year 2000. Mrs. Audrey Walton established two identical grantor retained annuity trusts, each with a 2-year term and each funded on April 7th, 1993, with $100,023.56 worth of Walmart stock. So you're probably putting this together. Audrey Walton contributed $100 million of Walmart stock. Yes, she was probably of the Walmart family. Mr. and Mrs. Walmart. The first year annuity payment was 49.35% and 59.22% for the second year. At the end of the term, one trust would distribute its remaining assets to Anne, the daughter, and the other would distribute its remaining assets to daughter Nancy. And the dispute here with the IRS was the IRS said that the value of the gift to each trust should have been $3,821,522. And Mrs. Walton said the value of the gift should have been $6,195. So by establishing these trusts, she was able to reduce her estate, the value of her estate, by about $100 million. So if you have $5 million, $10 million, $20 million, $100 million, you might want it to look into whether this could work for you. It's not, there's a joke about the grat as some kind of furry critter. But it's not. It's a grantor retained annuity trust. And the government does want to stop us from using these things. Some of the presidential candidates, ever since Bill Clinton, have been trying to get laws to change the way that these work, because even though there is an estate tax, if somebody's able to reduce their estate by $100 million using these types of trusts, maybe they shouldn't be doing that. Goes back to your philosophy about whether we should be paying estate tax at all. So the grantor retained annuity trust is a method of substantially reducing the transfer tax value of the assets by delaying the receipt of the property by the remainder beneficiaries for a period of years. You remove the value of the assets and all future appreciation from estate taxation. So that's something I haven't mentioned yet, is that if you do nothing, your assets are going to continue to grow. And so there's a risk if you do nothing that even if your estate is not taxable today, it might be taxable 7 years from now or 14 years from now. And we know that this year and next year we have the highest estate tax exemption amount, the basic exclusion amount, than we've ever had. And if Congress does nothing, which it likes to do, being gridlock, the estate tax exemption is going to fall. And so if you've got $5 or $6 million, or if you're a married couple and you have $10 to $12 million, you might want to start looking at whether you should be doing something. And it's going to be challenging to do some of these more complicated strategies because you have to have appraisals. You have to find appraisers that are qualified because you have to produce values that are going to stand up before the IRS. So transfers to a grantor retained annuity and trust are a gift of a remainder interest in the assets. The gift tax value is determined by subtracting the value of the qualified retained interest from the fair market value of the property transferred. And the grantor retains annuity payments for a term of years. The payout has to be at least annually. And so let's talk about the irrevocable life insurance trust. I've talked about those on a previous show, so if you want more detail about the irrevocable life insurance trust, go to that show. But it's also a way of getting assets out of your name. And what people are frequently confused about is that even though the death benefit received after death is income tax free to the beneficiary, the death benefit is still includable in your gross estate. So in order to get the death benefit out of your estate, you put it into an irrevocable life insurance trust. But again, talk to your attorney to see if that strategy is right for you, given your individual facts and circumstances. Also, we didn't get to talk a lot about limited partnerships. Maybe I'll have a special show on that. You can set up a business using your family's assets and land, investments, and other things, and you can retain control of that business even while giving your beneficiaries a percentage of the ownership of that business. You can retain control even though they're like a passive investor. That's it for today. I'm Todd Marquardt. I'll talk to you later.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the 10 Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.